Hey, what is up out there, Mental Health Nation? I hope everybody's having a great Thursday. It is super hot in Virginia today. We are frying eggs in the driveway. That's how hot it is. Matter of fact, it's so hot, I feel like I'm back in Missouri. Being a little hot and humid, we might get some rain later today, but I don't mind the heat. Summertime's supposed to be hot, right? Not two couple months from now, about 90 days, people gonna be complaining about it being cool outside and raining or snowing. I don't know if we get snow in Virginia this year, but I won't know because I'll be in Naples, Italy, come wintertime. Super excited about that. I hope everybody's having a great day. I've been a super crazy week. So for today's, if you guys watch the little advertisement I put out there on today's podcast, I'm just going to talk about some stories and other things that went on. But hey, before we dive into that, I just want to say real quick, if you look up on the left-hand side of the screen there, as you face it, you'll see a little QR code. That is for Reese Across America. You can scan that with your phone. You can go on, you can donate Reese. It's a great, amazing program they have. And they've been doing it for a lot of years to ensure Reese gets put on, those soldiers, sailors, Marines, tombstones who have gone on to another part of their life. And it's just really important. I'm really touching and really thankful to be a part of that. So, because of them, you can now see my podcast on Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the Reads Across America radio, and it's really easy to find. Just download your favorite, your favorite app you stream with, whether it's iTunes or no, correct that, not iTunes. Sorry, iHeartRadio app, TuneIn app, and Odyssey app, and just search Reads for Reads Across America. You just click follow. And you can see all the great programs. They have a lot of amazing programs on there. Not just mine, but mine's pretty good. Mine's not bad. But also with that, after the show, we'll pop up the QR code. You can pre-order your Mental Health Warrior book. It's out. I'm super excited about the book. It goes into a lot of the things that I talked about here on the show, but also cover things that I don't talk about. And you'll find out a great some other stories about me that you don't know that I do talk about. But if you want to get an earlier copy of that, you can go to my website at Clifford Ballman, right there, cliffordballman.com. That's how you spell it. See it right there, right there. Woo, woo. And you can order it through my website. And if you order it through my website, I will personally autograph the book. If I don't know you, and I've had a couple of people order, and I didn't know who they were, but I did go out there on the social media and kind of look at what they've been posting because I really want to give you a personal message when you do take the time. And I'm so thankful for everybody who has purchased the book. Makes a great gift item. Also, we do have 9/11 coming up here soon. And so that's a day that's kind of really, affected everybody, and it really affected me, obviously. And that's something that I talk about. But I'm super excited about today's show. So we're gonna dive right into it. Gonna get right on into it. So yesterday, Lloyd, my youngest one, turned 9. It was his 9th birthday. And so I'll post video on this later of what I'm about ready to talk about. It's kind of fun. So Lloyd gets up, and he turns 9. Happy birthday, teasing him. And I said, hey, so what do you want to do today? So down the street from where I live, there's a park called Locust Park. And you can go there and you can ride paddle boats. You can do miniature golf, batting cages, driving range, just all kinds of things to do down there. Super fun place to go. They got all kinds of play equipment for kids, and it's just right off the base of Quantico there, here in Virginia. And so we go down there. Of course, it was hot yesterday, and so first of all, he wanted to go play mini golf. Great, miniature golf fun. So it's just me, Lloyd, and his older brother, and so we're out there playing miniature golf, and I'm being a smart butt. And I looked at Lloyd. I said, "Okay, first hole in one, you get $5 playing miniature golf." And Lloyd was, he was going first because it was his birthday. And that little shit, the next hole, this is hole 5, I think. That was hole 5. I think it was hole 5. It was a very difficult hole because you hit it straight, and then they had a curved cement, and he hit that. And then right there was the hole, and then on the backside was a steep hill. So if you missed it, you would go down. I mean, there was no stopping on that hill. And Lloyd hit it, went straight down, went slowly around that curve, and right into the hole. He got a hole in one. And he says, "All right, Daddy, yeah, remember to pay me." So that was funny. Kudos to him for getting a hole in one in miniature golf. Awesome job. 2 holes later, I got a hole in one. So then I told him I didn't owe him $5, but I was just teasing him. I paid him his $5 for getting his hole in one. His brother never made it. So that was a lot of fun. But after that, we go to the driving range. And so it's a miniature park here, and then up on the hill was the driving range. Now, caveat to this is I used to play golf a lot, and my great uncle had a driving range, and we'd go there every summer or anytime we went up, from where I grew up in Aurora, Missouri, up to Kansas City. And we would always, go to his driving range and hit golf balls and or help him out with things around his driving range. So that he had it all the time. And Uncle Chris would play golf year round. And everybody knew him. So they would let him play on the golf even in the wintertime. And he would keep hand warmers in his pockets. And he'd keep his balls in there. So he would change them out. Because in the wintertime, the balls act differently when it's cold. But anyway, so we get up there and the boys had never really hit golf balls. So I always teach them how to hold the golf club properly and, swivel your hips and everything. And Lloyd actually did a pretty good job hitting the ball. I should post his picture. I mean, he hit about 75 yards for never hitting a golf ball before. Pretty good. Thumbs up. Junior struggled a little bit, but then I got him, he was holding the golf club wrong and it was sliding his hand. And so I told the golf club and had to, sweep his arms back and stuff. Well, I used to take pro lessons all the time. And one thing the pro always told me, and this has stuck with me ever since I played golf and when I stopped. He says, if you haven't played golf for a while, you set your ball on the tee, right? You set on the tee. And then he says, what you do is you drag your golf club on the ground for about 8-10 inches behind that ball. And what that does is that lines up your shot as you come down. And because what a lot of people do is when they go to come back, they want to pull, right? So you pull in. And so this keeps you straight and square. And so it took me a couple of times, hitting the ball. And I'm just using a driver that they have there, and they're all crappy and dented, and the handles are all, worn out and everything. And so I sliced one and then I hooked one. It took me a couple of times to kind of get it going. But then I got into the groove. And so there was a group of people on down from us, and they had all the big fancy clubs and, all the little covers on it and everything. And they were out there hitting the balls and not hitting them too well. And then all of a sudden, I hit my groove. And anybody who's been to a driving range, you know what I'm talking about. And it was consistent. 200 yards, 250 yards, more than 250 yards. I was hitting the fence in the back with this old crappy club. And he could see the guy over there getting frustrated, and he packed all of his stuff up and left. So I should have had on, and I didn't. Don't be a triggered pansy shirt from veteranstrashtalk.com. Go to the shop and get that t-shirt because I should have been wearing it because he shouldn't have been triggered by that, but he was clearly triggered by that. And it was a lot of fun. So Junior took a picture of me hitting the golf ball. I'll post that later on Facebook. But it was a lot of fun. And so then we go down to the batting cages. And Nick, you'll appreciate this. I played Little League when I was a kid, and that's all. That's about my extent of my baseball experience. And my boys have never played. So of course, we're going into the slow pitch because Lloyd wanted to do it. And of course, I get his helmet on him. I kind of show him how to stand, and hold the bat up and hold his hands. And he had a hard time at first. So he didn't hit too many balls the first time, but then he went back and did it again. And the second time, he hit a couple and did actually a pretty good job. I was kind of, amazed by it. And then Junior got up there, and he's got pretty good eye-hand coordination. Once he figured out how to hold the bat and kind of quit, he was laying it on the shoulder and I had to get him hold the bat up in there. But after that, he hit it pretty good. I told Junior we should have brought his girlfriend because your girlfriend used to play softball in college, so she could probably showed us how to hit the ball properly. We probably would have done a lot better. But it was a lot of fun. It was a good family outing. And then we come home, and then now it's Lloyd's going to have his birthday party, and some of the neighborhood kids come over. And so I had bought over 3,000 of the bunch of balloons, and we just had a massive water balloon fight yesterday. It was just so much fun because it was hot here, and I think we threw 1,720 water balloons we went through yesterday. So we're all a little tired and sore today, but it was a lot of great fun, and I needed that because have you been listening to my mental health minutes starting on last Sunday? Then that my Mustang, the car that I show, a bracket for the power steering hose had come off, and the hose actually fell down and hit my header burned a hole in it when I was driving it, and I just lost all my power steering fluid. Luckily, it didn't catch on fire. But it happened when I was close to the house because I could smell it, and I got to the house and it was still pouring out everywhere. What a freaking mess. Um, and so I ordered the part from Summit Racing. Big shout out to Summit Racing for getting my part here. It was a kit. And it's just like anything with an old car. You can't really get the exact part. And if I had the tools, I could have made it, but I just don't have, I'm not set up here in Virginia to do that. So I ordered the kit. It was for 68 through 71, 68 through 70 Mustang power steering kit. No big deal. Some of the hoses weren't the right size, but I knew that already when I ordered it. But one hose that I needed did fit, and it was awesome. And I got it fixed. And, of course, you start it and you run it and you slowly add fluid, and then you turn your wheels back and forth, blah, blah, blah. So I got that done. So now I need to start cleaning my spark plug cables. And so if you see the pictures of the Mustang, and they're out there on my Facebook page, is when you look at my engine, it's all stainless steel, and then my spark plug wires are green. And, I've had those for a while. And so when I was pulling them off to clean them, to wipe them, the one in the back freaking broke. Great, right? So this is turning into a freaking mess. This is working on an old car. This is what happens. Anybody who's worked on old cars is going to enjoy this story. So I pull it off. It breaks. Okay, well, they were Taylor spark plug wires, so there's no way I can't fix it because they're molded in. I can't slide it out. We add the cap back onto the wire and put it back inside the cap. And so I had to order another set. Took 2 hours searching on the internet. Nobody makes green spark plug wires anymore. So now I got to go away from green, which I really like the green because the Mustang's green, to a different color spark plug wire. So I had to order black. I decided to go with black. And my mental health minute was the other day is, sometimes, you just keep doing the right thing, right? And sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And then sometimes you just have to make a different decision, right? And that's what I talked about is, I had to decide, okay, I can no longer get green. What color am I going to go with, or how am I going to get this fixed? Because I got to get it fixed. And when you're going through therapy and things like that, you're going to get to that point at some time where you're going to have to make, a different decision. And sometimes those decisions can be life-changing. It may change your whole family structure. It might change everything that you ever thought or held dear in your life. It may all change. But it's important for your recovery to make that decision. Now, I know I'm talking about my car, but I'm just using my car as an example. Is, sometimes you have to make those decisions. And so I decided to go with black. Now, after I made that decision, I just got my new spark plug wires in today, and I'm going to go out and work on it after the podcast. Did you get it fixed?
Yeah, it's a process I'll have to explain to you.
Okay. Okay. Great. Awesome. Shut the door. Thanks, Junior. Appreciate it.
They didn't really fix it.
Are they going to send another box?
No.
What are they going to do?
We have to ship the box back, and then you got to place another order because that's just the way the company does it.
Okay. That's no problem.
Ridiculous.
Okay. That's fine. Nope. No problem. So that's another issue I'll talk about. I'm not having a good issue with cars. So, when you are going through recovery and you're healing yourself and you're getting better, especially with PTSD and other stuff, there might have been a lot of things go on in your life that you just accepted because you were going through what you were going through. And then after you got help, you realize that wasn't the right thing to be doing. And so you realize you need to make a change. And so within that change, it could change, how you do stuff. I know with my PTSD and after my suicide attempt, I had to change what I was doing because what I was doing wasn't right. It wasn't correct. I wasn't, it wasn't working, obviously, because I was lying to my therapist. And I talk about this in my book and the importance of therapy and counseling and things. But if you're not honest with your counselor, right? And I was just lying to him to try to get that stamp of approval to move on. Your therapy session is not going to be that great. Or he's not going to be able to treat you as effectively as he could. And so I didn't do myself any justice, but I wasn't ready at that time. And it took me almost dying to get to that point. And sadly, I think for a lot of you out there listening, and maybe you're going through that right now, um, that's you don't want to get to that point. Yeah, that's why I do the mental health warrior, and that's why I do all my postings is I want people to ask for help before they get to that point. But as you're going through therapy and as you're going through all these different things and making yourself better, improving yourself both mentally and physically and spiritually, it's very important to realize that sometimes you have to make those hard decisions to keep your path going down the right path. And it's not easy. It's hard. I know that because I've done it, and I don't know. It's tough, like for this week, right? So I got a lot of things going on. I had Lloyd's birthday party. I got car shows coming up. I got the Mustang that keeps having things break. So now I got the spark plug wires in. So now I got to decide how I'm going to do that. And I may mix the green and the black, right? Because they're not all bad. And I may try that and see how that looks. So at least I still keep some of the green components. I ordered tailors so they match. But also one thing in the process of taking that back spark plug wire off is I realized my back spark plug had backed out and it was loose. Only issue with that is I can't get my spark plug wire socket on there to tighten it back up because it keeps hitting the header. So what does that mean? Well, that means now I got to remove my exhaust on the left side, take my header off to tighten up my back spark plug. Okay, well, if I'm going to take all that stuff off to tighten up a spark plug, I might as well go ahead and tune the vehicle up, even though it's only been about 8,000 miles. I might as well go ahead and tune the vehicle up if I'm going to take all that stuff off. But now I'm going to have to take off the left and right side. But when you work on cars, just like when you work on your life, sometimes you just have to do that. And then you realize that, yeah, it's a big pain in the butt now. But that explains why my Mustang wasn't running quite as well as it should have been because that backed out. And then you think, well, I'm really lucky that my car didn't catch on fire when that power steering hose busted. And it was on the low end side. It wasn't the high end side. So it wasn't squirting out. It was just running out. And that was another thing because if where it was running out, it was just kind of blowing back on the header, not pouring down on that, squirting on it repeatedly, which probably kind of helped it from catching on fire. But you just keep moving in the right direction, keep moving forward because that's all you can do. Because if you don't keep moving forward, then the only option is to go back, and you know what that looks like. And so you don't want to go back, and so I will slowly and methodically, um, you know, get my Mustang fixed, and that's all I can do. I just, it's just one of those things that you have when you have an old car and a show car, even though it's been rebuilt, frame off restoration. It's hard to. Sometimes you just got to fix stuff, and you got to fix stuff yourself. Just like I fixed my dishwasher last month when the pump went out of it. I used to, repair appliances, so I ordered the part and fix it. It was no big deal. Just YouTube how to fix it. For any appliances you have in your house, really, there's a YouTube video out how to fix it. And most of your appliances, you can save yourself some money. You YouTube the video and fix it. Literally, the pump on my dishwasher, it's Electrolux. I took the dishwasher out, flipped it upside down. There was a cover on it. You pop that cover off, and literally, you twist the pump out and it comes off. It's not even screwed in. You just twist and comes off. And then what happened is a piece of glass got in there and cut the blades. I did a video on it. And then the new one came in. I just touched it in, flipped it in, and I was done in like 10 minutes. But if you had a repair guy come out, it probably cost a couple $100. So save yourself some money and fix the stuff yourself. That's what and there's a video out there on TikTok. I'm sure you guys have seen it, or I don't have TikTok, on Instagram, where the guy is saying, "Hey, you're not rich. I didn't grow up rich. So if you're not rich and you have to learn how to fix things, and you need to learn how to buy old stuff and make it look new again." And that's kind of what I do. Is I fix things myself, and I try to spend as little money as possible, if I can, to fix things myself, because I think it's important. And plus, it gives me a little sense of satisfaction when you do that, right? So it's a little bit of both on each end, and that kind of helps with my mental health, my physical health, and those kinds of things. If I'm able to go out and fix those kinds of stuff. And so just know that if you're going through therapy, or if you're thinking about going through therapy, or if you're maybe not even going through therapy, maybe you're just having a bad go of it, right? Like me, last 2 weeks I've had a bad go of it, man. And then lately, this week, and I don't know why. Well, I know why, probably. I haven't been sleeping at night. I've been going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and 2 o'clock in the morning, and I get a little tired, and then all of a sudden I'm wide awake, and I just can't go to sleep. That's why I look the way I look. But whatever it is, maybe it's because August is coming up, and then 9/11. Maybe that's why. I don't really know. Or, to be honest with you, it's probably because of Mustangs having issues and problems. I'm wondering how much more things I'm going to run into once I start diving into it more. Maybe that's why I'm not sleeping. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. And like today, I was a little bit tired, so I just lay down and took a nap. That's one thing I figured out with my life coach is, you know, I- if you're tired, take a nap. If you can, take a 15-minute nap. Do something a little bit different. And say huge shout out there to the person watching from the Philippines. Wilmar, if I said your name wrong, I apologize. I don't have my glasses on. So it's one of those things, and it's whatever. So back to Lloyd's birthday party, and I'll post a video out there. So while he was opening up his gifts, I was doing commentating it as he was opening his gifts in a funny voice. And it turned out quite funny. But that was a good, fun time with Lloyd. It was a good distraction from all the frustration and different levels I've had with the Mustang this week, and trying to get it fixed, and just trying to get things on back on the right path. Sometimes things go wonky, and so what do you do when they go wonky? All you got to do is just keep moving forward. But we're coming up on the tail end of August, maybe tail end of summer. I mean, and out here in Virginia, we've had a lot of rain, and now it's hot. And my garden's been kind of wonky. Some things are growing good, some things aren't growing good. And then for anybody out there who does gardening, I'm sure you understand the same thing. So you just got to learn how to roll with the punches and not too upset. We went to Quantico today, and I got my T-shirt on. I got my Mental Health Warrior Season 2 T-shirt, and you guys remember what it says on the back, right? Um, right? Remember what it says on the back? I want to show it to you right here. There we go. Oh, whoa. There we go. So, you guys see that? To the person behind me, you're a warrior, you're worthy, you matter. The person in front of you. And so we went to Subway first. My son's got a sandwich. I went to the Greek corner next door because I want to get a protein bowl. And I'm standing in line, and a Marine behind me says, "Hey, thank you." And for a minute, I didn't know what he's talking about, right? I forgot about what was on the back of my T-shirt. And I turned around and said, "Oh, yeah, hey, thanks. Yeah, no problem." And he says, "No, I read the back of your shirt." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay." If I had that look on my face, like, "Thank you for what? Whatever, being in front of you because I was next." Is that it? I don't know. And so we got to talking. And, I told him about what I did and gave him my website, cliffordbauman.com. And, I told him, he said he wanted a T-shirt. And I said, "Well, I'll make sure I get you a T-shirt." Anyway, so we finish up. I get my food. I go back to the table. I sit with the boys and eat. And he was sitting over having his lunch, and we were done. And Junior already went into the BX, and I was there with Lloyd, and Lloyd was watching my phone, and sitting down. I just thrown our stuff away, and the Marine come back up and talked to me, and we kind of stood off to the side, and he talking to me about his PTSD issues, and he went to the clinic down in San Antonio, and he really appreciated, because he went on my website and he read about my website and some of the things I've done. Of course, the latest thing is I did the thing about gun safety with the Ad Council and the Brady Foundation. And so he just kind of stood there, and I told me a little bit about his story. And, it really made me feel good about myself, because, when I make t-shirts, I don't make any money off of them. I pay for all that myself now. Veterans Trash Talk, they give me a little bit of discount when I design the t-shirts and take it. And I do it for the exact same reason that happened today. The guy read the back of the t-shirt. It touched him, the Marine touched him in a way that I hoped it would have touched somebody. And it kind of made his day. And we had a nice, I'm not going to go in detail about the conversation we had about his PTSD and stuff, but for a lot of, soldiers out there, sailors, Marines, Air Force people, your pain is real and what you're feeling is real. And just know, I understand that. And, anybody on Veterans Trash Talk, they understand that. We've all gone through a lot of horrible things in our military careers. And just know that there is a community out there that, on veteranstrashtalk.com, you go to the Facebook page. You can watch their Saturday show, but that is a community out there, and same as mine, Mental Health Warrior, that's really a safe place for veterans and other things to talk about issues and problems that are bothering them, because I think it's so very important. And then for a veteran and for somebody that's been through a lot of crap, it's nice to be able to, like he said, to let his guard down. And I just met him. I didn't know him from Adam. And here we are in the lunchroom at the Quantico at the BX, whatever they call it in the Marines. And he's telling me his story, and I gave him my cell phone number, and I said, hey, look, um if something comes up, you call me day or night. You call me, text me day or night if something, because you never know when you're having PTSD or other issues. When you're gonna have that moment, and maybe you just need to talk to somebody. And so I just want to let him know that, hey, even though I don't know you, hey, reach out, and I'll talk to you if something happens. And of course, I told him I'd be more than happy to come and talk to the Marines there at Quantico. I'll talk to anybody, about mental health. That's why I do the podcast, because I think it's so very important, especially with military members, to get rid of the stigma associated with mental health and asking for help, and just knowing that it's okay to have that conversations, right? It doesn't make you, and I talk about this, it doesn't make you less of a person, it doesn't make you less of a Marine or a soldier or an airman. We all go through stuff in life. That's life, right? That's how it is. And what you have to learn is know that that's okay. Know it's perfectly fine to have those feelings. And it's okay that if you and somebody else went through the same situation and they don't have the same issues and problems, that's okay too. I think for a lot of people, when they're suffering with PTSD, is they feel bad because maybe their buddies aren't having the same issues. But, we're all made differently. Our brains process things differently. And so what may bother one may not bother another one. And you have to know that that's okay. I beat myself up over that for years. Um, the fact that I was with others, and I talk about them in the book with, Jack and, Bob, who I was at the Pentagon with, who helped me going through it. Their reaction to 9/11 was completely different from mine. And, they talk about it in the book is, they didn't know I went through all that till 10 years later when I started doing speaking events. Because, when you lose contact with people, that's just typical military. But they didn't realize that I had attempted in other things. And that's, I used to be embarrassed by talking about my suicide attempt, or saying I attempted, or I did this, or, almost completed suicide. I'm not embarrassed by that anymore. That was something that happened in my life that molded me who I am today. And if somebody asked me, would you want to go back and change something? The only thing I would change is I would go back and do my counseling different, and realize the importance of, you know, trusting that counselor and being open to that counselor, about what I was going through and what, I was feeling. I think that's so very important. And just know that if you're in the TRICARE system, if you're active duty, and if you don't have that connection with that counselor you're seeing, you can change counselors. You don't have to continually see that one counselor if you just don't have that connection with them, because it's so very important. I think for a lot of people on TRICARE, they just think whatever counselor they get, you just don't connect with them, and it's perfectly fine to have that conversation with that counselor. They understand that, and just let them know that, hey, I'm just not having a connection with you. Is there somebody else in the office who I can see? Because I've known people who talk to the opposite sex better than they talk to the same sex person. So if you're male, maybe you have an easier time opening to a female counselor, or if you're a female, maybe you have more comfortability talking to a male counselor or another female counselor, or maybe you feel more comfortable talking to somebody that's mixed race as opposed to somebody that isn't. I mean, it's all about you, and it's all about what feels good and safe for you. And that'll be also important as you go through your therapy and your recovery, is you want to have that level of trust with whomever you see. And, I've had great counselors, and I've had, not so great counselors. But it wasn't until later on that I realized that I didn't have to stay with that one counselor, because you know what I'm talking about, right? You go in there and they just kind of like they're going through the motions. They're not really, you know, they're listening to what you're saying, but they're not listening to you what you're saying. Kind of like when you talk to your kid, right? You're having a conversation with your kid, and you can tell when he's kind of not really paying attention to what you're saying. You're like, "Are you listening to me?" Of course, the counselor didn't do that. Well, I had one that probably would, but so that's just, it's important to know. And hey, if it's hot where you're at, if it's, hot like it is in Virginia, it's so easy to lose your temper and get upset about stuff. But just try to, take a moment, take a, deep breath. I talk about all the time about the Ear Kick app. I love this app. I think it's the best app out there for mental health. And if you haven't downloaded it, I'll share the link after the show. It's just Ear Kick, just like it sounds.com. It's free to download. It's super easy to use. You can speak, text um, your daily journal. If you do daily journal, it tracks your mood, it tracks temperatures, it tracks everything. So, if you want to go back and find, why do I normally feel this way? You can go back and look at the metrics on what was going on that day, and maybe that might tell you, why you were acting the way you were acting, or why you weren't sleeping right, or something else was going on. Maybe the weather affects you, didn't realize it. Maybe it was more cloudy that month and not so sunny, and that affected you. But it has all those metrics and it tracks that, and only you see it, nobody else sees it. But I really think that that's important. And, going through therapy, what's nice about that too is you can easily journal because it's on your phone, right? And you can go in and in your stuff, and then when you go to therapy, you can just hand it off to your doctor, and let them look at it. See, this is what it looks like right here. See here. Yeah, see, there you go. That's the little AI panda, and it talks to you every day, and it gives you helpful hints. And as you can see, all the smiley faces. So I wasn't lying. I've been actually doing all my journaling in there, and it tracks everything because I think it's great to use. But it's a great, and they have great videos on anxiety and breathing. The guy that did the videos, a world class free diver. It's a good app, and I would suggest to anybody out there, whether you have kids or you're grown up, because it's geared toward kids too. Kids can use it. Is I think it's just a great app, and it's just something that's easy to do. We're all on our phones a lot, and it's just right there, and you can just immediately get access to it. I've used anxiety video before, where he talked about, you imagine yourself in a train station, you're the conductor, and you just let those trains go by, that those are your fleeting thoughts. Because one thing you realize with anxiety is that, thoughts within themselves have never really killed anybody, right? It's just a thought. Now, anxiety and stuff can lead to other things, but just in itself, it has, and they talk about that in the video. And so it's pretty amazing, and it's free. They've won a lot of awards in Europe. And so if you just want something like that, download, it's available on Apple and Samsung. And of course I had an iPhone, but it's just really great, and I really enjoy it. And so I would offer that up. If you just looking for, it's probably the best mental health app I've ever came across. But hey, I'm going to finish this up today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm going to have Chris throw up on the screen real quick the QR code. If you'd like to go ahead and pre-order my book, It's right there. That's through the Amplify website. If you use the promo code Warrior, which is super easy to find, you can save 20% on the book. And now those books will be coming out sometime in August. If you can't wait till then, you want to have it now, you can go to my website, cliffordballman.com. You can order the book from there. And then from there, I can sign those books and then I'll get them shipped out. There is a shipping cost associated with that because it's coming from me and not from Amplify. But I just do whatever the basic UPS shipping is. I think it's $8, $8 to $17, depending upon where you live. But it varies by zip code. And I'll personally autograph those books for you. But hey, I hope everybody has a great Thursday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm sure I'll be making some videos on the Mustang and how that's going. Hopefully, I can get it fixed and get it back on the road because I really miss driving it because that is part of my therapy. I do yoga and I work out and, working on the Mustang and taking the Mustang to shows and really talking to, veterans and getting out there and visiting with people when I am at shows. That's really what it's about. It's a good car community. And if you've never been to a car show, find one in your local community and go to it. Kids enjoy it. It's just fun to walk around and see the love and passions that people put into their vehicles. And what's so nice about it is that there's such a wide range of people out there. I mean, you'll see cars and they're kind of like mine that are just pristine and super nice. And I drive mine, so it's not perfect anymore because it gets chips and stuff from driving it, just like your car does. But then you'll see ones that, they had the rat rods, and then you got people who bring their barn finds out. And, there's some people who they just, inherit a car from their grandfather or whatever, and it's all original and it's not, it's not perfect. They bring those to car shows, and those sometimes are just as popular as the highly modified cars. And so it's just a great family fun to go walk around and just look at all the other cars. I know that not everybody does this, but I do it because I have a 9-year-old. That anytime the parents are walking around with the kids and the kids are excited to see the Mustang, I allow them to sit in the Mustang and take pictures with their family because to me that's a memory for that child and that's something they'll remember for a long time. The kids are always super excited about that, right? They're like, oh, "Really, Dad? Can I sit in this car?" And then what I do is I lean over because I got switches. So the first switch, you pop it down, and that turns everything. Of course, they can't start it because there's other processes you have to go through. But they push that switch down, and all of a sudden, the fuel pump comes on, all lights come on, the gauges come on, and the kids are like, "Oh, wow!" They get so excited, and then I have them shut off. But that's super fun for them. So if you get a chance, go out to your local, get a car show. If you have that veteran or friend that's kind of gone quiet, or you haven't heard from, or maybe his grass is getting growed up in his yard, or maybe he's having some issues, just check on each other. Go mow their yard. My neighbor, here where I live, they were having a hard time. I just went over there and mowed his yard. I didn't even ask him. I just mowed it. Their lawnmower had broke down or something, and I got 2 riders, so whatever. I just went on the motor's yard. What's an hour, right, of your time? And it makes a difference in anybody else. And maybe it just takes a little bit stress off of them. And really, that's all what we want to do is just kind of help each other out because only together are we going to help, get this 22 a day. And I know it's way more than that, sadly, number down to 0. And I would love to have that happen. But I want to say also, if you go out on my website or if you see my Facebook page, I reposted it today because there's such an important campaign going on out there with the Ad Council and the Brady Foundation with the importance of gun safety. My story and the other stories that they did out there and the videos they did were absolutely amazing and sad stories, but really good stories, important stories. The importance of having gun locks and also prescription medication, locks because I get it. I'm a gun person. I have guns. I grew up with guns. I got it. My sons and know how to use guns and things like that. The point of that is, and I said this to him. I said, people will shove gun safety, gun all down our throats. But if you're somebody who grew up with it, I think sometimes you might get complacent with things or something. But we always learn the importance of gun safety. But the gun locks, what I like about that, and as well I do, if you have a lot of guns, you know that if you're in a bad way, trigger warning, trigger warning, there is a certain gun that you're going to go to, right? There's going to be a handgun, a rifle, or something that if you're in a bad state of mind, you know what gun that is. That's the gun you need to stick a lock on. That's the gun And you know what gun I'm talking about. You know it. That's the one you need to put a lock on. Because if you're in a moment of crisis and you have to find that key to unlock it, to take that off of there, or you got your ammunition lock up, maybe in that moment, it'll give you clarification and you won't do what you want to go get that gun and do. And you will think about it and then call somebody for help. Call 988, text 741 to 741 if you're in crisis, text help. That was on my first season's t-shirt. Just reach out for help. And so that's why I supported that campaign, and that's why I will continue to post about it, because it is so very important. And my good friend Tom Cruise, his story is an amazing story, where he was going to do a murder suicide with him and his girlfriend, and she actually talked him down. And his video out there is very moving, and he's a great person. He's been on my podcast. He's the one that works with veterans that are in prison, kind of the forgotten ones. And he really has made that his life mission, is helping veterans that are incarcerated. And hats off to him. But hey, Mental Health Nation, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Get out there, enjoy the weather. Even if it is hot, you can still get outside, enjoy that sunshine. Kick your shoes off, do some grounding. That'll help your mental health. Just touch that earth. Go out there and hug a tree. Go to the driving range and hit some golf balls and have a laugh and drink a beer with some buddies or something this weekend. Maybe get out there and order some good 10th Mountain bourbon, which I'm out, and I'll have to go order some more. But just go do something fun, know your limits, and be safe. And call that buddy or friend who maybe went silent, and just make sure everybody's doing okay, because only we can get through this, but we need to get through it together. But have a great weekend. Mental Health Warrior out.